Hello there ladies and gentlemen, I'm Paul TX141 Walsh and welcome to the first instalment of my foray into Gran Turismo Sport, a racing game developed by Polyphony Digital and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. Focusing on the game's online mode, known as Sport Mode, in this episode I take a look at my third ever race, a daily race in the Gr.3 category at the Red Bull Ring, in which I'm driving the Ford GT Le Mans Spec 2 test car. Being a rookie, I've aimed in my initial races to drive cleanly and aim to finish at least where I start, if not higher. In doing so, I anticipate my confidence will build and with it my driving pace. I wanted to share this race as I feel it is a good example of my overall approach and one I learned from considerably. Without further delay then, let's get racing. So as we take a look at the grid, you'll see that I've qualified 11th out of 16 cars with a lap time of 1:35.7, 5.2 seconds behind the lead lap set by the AMG of 1:30.5. I was very happy with my qualifying lap as it was a smooth one and I really felt as I was starting to get to grips with the track after doing a few laps. Still, I've got a lot of ground to make up if I want to be in the hunt for a podium, and the idea will be that I try to keep within 1 second of the guy in front, so that way I pick up their slipstream or their toe, and that means I gain a bit more speed on the straights and I can make lunges into corners, particularly on the inside, to try and pick up places as I go. It's a rolling start, and what you're going to see straight from the start is that I'm on the hunt for this Audi in front, because as we begin they get a rather sloppy start by the looks of things, and it means I'm right on their heels going down the main straight into turn 1. I come out to go up the inside at this point, believing I've got the additional speed from the slipstream here and I can really make a move. And I use my standard braking point but go a little bit sideways into the corner. Fortunately for me, the Beetle, the white Beetle in 9th place, went wide on the corner, meaning that I clipped the side of them but I didn't take them off. I apologise for that entirely, that was my fault, bit too much speed there. But still, kept it under control and now going up into the second turn. And we can see that the Beetle and the Audi are fighting one another for 9th, so I'm just going to sit back a little bit, let them fight and try to pick up the slipstream going down into turn 3 as we come around this corner here. And therefore I can try and come up the inside of some, perhaps into turn 3. And what we're seeing up ahead, it looks as though some penalties are being served, and the NSX that started in 2nd is really falling back, now down to 10th. And with my speed advantage over them, I'm going to cut the inside into turn 3 here and pick up the place as they go wide on the outside. It looks as though they go off into the dirt. The Beetle spins out, meaning I can pick up another place, and now up into 9th. And still in the hunt for additional places, right on the heels once again of the Audi, and also the McLaren who they're fighting with for 7th place. Now as we go through turns 4 and 5 at this point, my weakest section on the track, I'll come to explain that a little bit later. I'm going to hang back again because I can see these two guys are really fighting for a position. I don't really want to get caught up in too much fighting. I want to race my own race, be sneaky, pick up places as I go. We've got 5 laps, there's no need I should say to get it all done in the first lap. It's taking it easy here, looks as though the Beetle, the German Beetle, has fallen back a little bit as the Audi goes off chasing the McLaren here, allowing me to pick up a place. The McLaren goes slightly wide once again, meaning I can get along the side of them. We initially get ahead of them, but as we can see going down the straight again into turn 1 as we start lap 2, they've got the speed over us and they're able to simply get down the side of us here. I go for the inside line but I brake earlier than them. They pick up a half-second penalty, perhaps it's through the altercation with the Audi earlier on, or perhaps the speed they gained off the last corner by running a little bit wide outside the track limits. But nonetheless, we're still behind this McLaren who's really pushing hard. We're pushing hard alongside them. We'll be coming up into turn 2 on the outside at this point. Keeping in mind there's a penalty spot coming up after turn 2 on the straight down to turn 3, so there's no need for me to fight this corner with them. I just simply need to stay close behind them and make sure I'm ready to capitalise when they slow down just about now. And in doing so, that moves me up into 7th place, racing cleanly here, pushing forward and chasing down for 6th now. And my hope is at this point, with 6th place being 2 seconds up the road and having gained a bit of time over the McLaren, what with their penalty, as I go sideways a little bit into turn 3 here but keep it collected, and I actually pick up 6th place at this point because it looks like one of the guys ahead went wide, the British driver Liam 05 Adamson. Not sure what they were driving in this race, but now up into 6th and hunting down the German in front, the Beetle in front. My hope is that I'm able to simply keep on the heels of the guys in front, bring that time down from 1.8 seconds to 1 second or less so I can start picking up their slipstream. But on top of that, against the guy behind who is now the McLaren who we were playing with earlier, I want to try and keep them above a second away from me so that way they're not picking up my slipstream, and I'm running my own race in 6th. I'm comfortable, I'm not under pressure, and if anything I start to put some pressure on the guys in front as they're pushing one another for 4th place at this point, and we can see that these mistakes will cost them time and it causes them to pick up penalties, and I can capitalise on that over subsequent laps, now on lap number 3 of 5. Going back up into the first corner then, we're going to try and keep this the same as usual. Braking, coming in nice and tight. Skid sideways a little bit, doesn't cost me too much time, but as you can see here, 1.6 seconds from the guys in front and 1.7 seconds ahead from the guy behind. I'm in the middle ground, not benefiting too much. Can I get a bit closer to 5th place at this point? Especially seeing as they're about to serve a penalty. Well, I'll go for it, and unfortunately going into turn 2 I go a little bit wide, and rather than just go straight down on the power at that point and potentially pick up a penalty for gaining time for a run off the track, I come back onto the track very sensitively in 2nd gear, so that way I don't pick up a penalty, I don't gain any time from running off, and that costs me the time in being able to catch up to 5th when they serve their penalty. So a mistake on my end, one that I can learn from. I'm pushing a bit too hard at this point, already getting thirsty for 5th place rather than thinking just keep it calm and collected as you have been for the first 2 laps. Now the issue I've got with turns 4 and 5 as we're coming through them here is I find that I have a lot of difficulty in sighting these corners in terms of braking point and knowing how much I can push the car around the corners, meaning that I don't feel too confident and I lose speed in this middle section in particular. Something I need to work on through additional qualifying laps and some practice laps, but it's something that does cost me time over the course of this race and means I'm not going to be close to the guy in front, i.e. up in 5th where I could have been perhaps. But still, keeping it clean through the final segment at this point, coming into the final corner and back onto the main straight, going sideways a little bit here, and looking in my rear view mirror at this point, we can see that the NSX that dropped all the way back earlier from 2nd place is now hot on my tail. And then we're in the 2nd, which means as we go onto the main straight, they will gradually be picking up the toe from my car. We can see as they come up into the first corner from behind, they have a much later braking point than myself. They're more experienced in this track, they know their braking point more well. And that means that they'll be gaining time on me, and as they pick up my slipstream going up into turn 2 here, they're only going to continue to gain on me unless I start pulling out magnificent laps. Well, I can promise you it's not going to happen. As we go into turn 2, I brake earlier than them. They come into the back of me a little bit, completely understandable when you've got more experienced drivers racing up against novice drivers like myself. They're going to have different braking points and that may catch players by surprise. But to be fair, the NSX only gave me a slight punt in the back, didn't send me off the track. They collected it very well and I was able to keep my car under control and return. Now coming down to turn 3 at this point, that NSX is really pushing hard on my 6 at this point. I've gained quite a bit of time on the guys in front as well by the looks of things, just shy of a second now from the Beetle in front. Perhaps I'll be able to get a little bit closer and pick up their slipstream, which will buy me some time away from the NSX behind, or at least keep them at bay for a little bit longer. But we can again see here as we go through turns 4 and 5, I'm losing time on the guys in front. That's my immaturity in knowing this section of the track, and it means that NSX is really biting on my heels, whereas the guys in front are just pulling away off into the distance. But again, something I need to work on, already mentioned that. So focusing on the item at hand at this point, we pulled a bit of time over the NSX here, they've fallen back to 0.9 seconds, but as we go into the final 2 corners, they're gaining once again. They just simply have the greater knowledge of the track by the looks of things and therefore the greater pace. I go sideways on the final corner, under a bit of pressure, making a mistake there with the NSX hot on my heels. I make sure to give them space going down to the main straight on the final lap, forcing them to take the outside line, but you'll see the difference in braking points here as we go up into the first corner. They brake so much later and carry so much more speed through the corner compared to myself, which means they go straight through, and now I drop back into 7th. But looking at the timing screens, we can see the NSX is just going charging up the road, whereas the chap behind the Swiss guy in 8th is just shy of 4 seconds behind me, so I don't have to worry about them unless I make a major mistake. Instead, let's keep going. It looks as though there's been an accident up ahead, somebody's gone off, a yellow flag in place, and as it turns out, an Italian driver in a Nissan GTR went charging off the track. Whether it's that through a collision with another player, not sure. Not to worry. What it means is I'm right on their 6 as they come back onto the track, and then as we go down into turn 3 at this point, I'm going to try the same thing as with the NSX on lap 1. I'm going to try and come up on the inside, a bit too far back, but it looks as though the Italian has made a mistake and they've gone charging off the track, meaning that I can pick up 6th place. So sometimes it's not about necessarily being right on someone's heels. If people make mistakes, you just have to be close enough to capitalise. And again, it looks as though the German here, who we just passed, made a mistake, went charging off the track at turn 4, meaning that I've picked up 5th place. And I didn't expect that to happen at all, but now I just need to drive a clean race. The NSX in front is untouchable, unless I really push the car and force myself into a mistake most likely. But coming home in 5th with 3 seconds to 6 behind me, I'm not worrying about this. It's been a great race. This is going to be my best result so far if I manage to bring it home. So just being careful with the final 2 turns here. No mistakes need to be made. I'm going to take it nice and easy into the final corner here, not get on the power too early because I don't want to force myself into a mistake. Now on the home stretch, let's bring it home. Let's bring the Ford GT home in 5th place. There we go. That's the end of the race. Not gonna lie, I was as pleased to punch with 5th place, and picked up 6 places and driven a clean race along the way. It's boosted my confidence so much so that I plan to take part in the 2019 Manufacturer Series pre-season, where I'll be representing BMW, the car brand that I drive in real life. That starts on the 1st of May 2019, so I better get practicing, and I'll be sure to bring you some episodic content showcasing the highs and lows, hopefully mostly highs, of my experience in the pre-season. Still, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like, comment or subscribe for future episodes. As always, I have been TX141, and until next time, take care.